special 1-hour edition of Geeks Not Nerds, the podcast. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
This is our big Christmas extravaganza, Vince.
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing a Santa hat.
We're going to talk for a whole hour about Christmas and Christmas-related things having to do with pop culture and geek culture, and then just all kinds of other random things. We got a list of topics related to Christmas. And Vince, we're going to start with a beef that you have.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Anybody notice that Christmas is taking over Thanksgiving?
What do you mean by taking over Thanksgiving?
Like, it hits the middle of November, and suddenly people start putting up Christmas lights and Christmas trees.
Yeah, and I've noticed that ever since that's been happening, nobody sings Thanksgiving carols anymore.
Yeah, what was that one? Oh, Food, Glorious Food. I think.
See, the thing is, when you said that, I was thinking, that's really old news, because these days it seems like Christmas is almost starting taking over Halloween. Like, or not really taking it over, but like, I was seeing Christmas stuff in the stores like as early as October 5th.
It's not something that actually makes me angry. It fuddles me a bit. Because, it makes sense to me that people would want the Christmas season to last a little longer, because after all, December is only 4 weeks. I mean...
Well, and when we say people, and not that I want to get negative or anything, but when we say we want people, that people want it to last longer, I think what we're really talking about is merchandisers.
Well, yeah, there's that.
Because Christmas equals money in the retail world, and if... we can get people more excited about Christmas earlier. I think the philosophy is they'll buy more at Christmas time.
That's funny, because it just makes me shop earlier, as opposed to...
actually spending more money?
Yeah. Oh. See, for me, I just knew Black Friday was coming. So...
Do you shop on Black Friday?
Typically, no. I've only once ever bought anything on a Black Friday.
This has always been weird to me, because, and there are other things like this, where, things like rush hour traffic on certain highways, and Black Friday and stuff like this, where, grand openings, where everybody you talk to will say, I avoid that like the plague, because I don't want to get stuck in a line, there's too many people there, but then there's always a lot of people there. So, if everybody you talk to doesn't shop on Black Friday, who is shopping on Black Friday? I always wondered about this.
People you don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
See, the thing for Black Friday is, it never occurred to me that there were good deals on Black Friday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You didn't know why it was the big shopping day of the year? Because it isn't like people just go, oh, it's the day after Thanksgiving, now I gotta go shop for Christmas. It's really a, retail created, invented day, as far as I can tell. Mm-hmm. Where the reason everybody goes out is because, and the reason people open at 4 or 5 in the morning is because there's all these crazy deals.
Apparently, people at Walmart are not allowed to call it Black Friday. I mean, workers at Walmart.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
They have to refer to it as the event.
The event?
Which is
you mean like that show on NBC?
See, I was asking an employee about that, and they said... that
incidentally, no one I know watches that either.
Nobody watches Walmart? Well, of course not. The plot is boring.
It doesn't matter how many you have in your city. It's dull.
There's 6 in mine. No, there's 2.
Really? Really? Because there's not 6 where I live, and I live in a larger place than you.
That's right.
Anyway.
Earth. I live on Mars. I don't know about you guys. Christmas on Mars is ridiculous.
Yeah. They have Black Sunday.
They have Black Month.
Anyway, what were you saying?
Apparently they're not allowed to call it Black Friday because, there's a racial issue apparently involved because people get ridiculous and dumb. That's what I was told. I don't know for certain. But I was told by a person at Walmart, so take that as you will.
Wow, that is people... that's going too far, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that's just political correctness. That's beyond political correctness. Like at that point, we're just mixing up contexts, right? Like, at what point does it get to where we can't even call things black because it apparently offends people? You know what I mean? Like, if something is the color black, it's black, okay? That's the color that it is.
Bleach your curtains and dye them gray. Because you can't call them black.
So Vince, I got some various topics here to talk about.
Topics of interest.
Indeed. Okay, so this is probably the more serious one on the list. But, Christmas, naturally, of course, obviously, is a religious holiday, and yet, overwhelmingly, most people in America observe it. Mm. Is it just because they want presents?
It's interesting. I've been talking to some of my atheist friends recently, and they still celebrate Christmas. I think that there's almost a tradition in it. They grew up with Christmas. I mean, because most of my atheist friends have Christian parents. So
sure, there's that.
You couldn't just tell. I suppose you could, but most people, I think, aren't heartless enough to say, "Screw Christmas, Mom and Dad." Because I think maybe there's some sort of nostalgia for their childhood, or maybe there's some sort of appreciation for a season that brings people together to celebrate in whatever way, whether that's giving people ridiculous stuff or having loads and loads of food and alcohol and then having family problems.
Yeah. But not that we're pessimistic. Vince is a glass half full kind of guy. But yeah, I think you hit it. It's an excuse to get together with family, especially for people who usually don't. And honestly, okay, this isn't exactly glass half full either. But I think there are some people who celebrate holidays just so that they have that excuse, so that when their family asks them to do other things with them other times of the year, they go like, "What? You got Christmas?"
You throw somebody a bone, and that's about it.
I was just there 8 months ago.
I was just there in Christmas of '89. We watched Batman, or whenever that came out. They came out in the summer. Shut up.
Anyway,
you were 3.
But I think that's mostly what it is, isn't it? Excuse to get together with family, presents. I'm talking about for people who don't subscribe to the religion that Christmas goes with.
I think that most holidays have boiled down to togetherness in some way. I mean, whether you're with your grandmother or just a significant other or something to that effect, there's something about an event that I think people want to just be around other people. Because we are social creatures after all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that still a lot of people overwhelmingly have the mindset of a lot of Americans. I don't want to say everybody. There are people who don't like holidays, and there are people who don't observe holidays, and all that kind of stuff. But I think at least a lot of people I know, it's like they're not gonna not be somewhere at Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like a lot of people, and I think Christmas is that way too. We're like if you don't have if your family's out of town and you can't go with them or something, and you don't have a place to go, and you have friends, they're going to invite you to their house whether they want you there or not, because they're not going to let someone be alone on Thanksgiving or be alone on Christmas. Josh?
Yes.
My buddy Josh, who goes to Trek Club, who watched Turbo of Power Rangers movie with me, and that's the only way I was able to get through it. Josh, several years back, when I first started dating my wife, Sarah was of course out of town, and then my parents had to go to Iowa. And I was working at a job where I was going to get time and a half if I stayed in town and worked on Friday. And that was going to be I was making a decent amount of money at that job, and that was that year that I took off between high school and college. And I had a desk job for a year, and it was a call center job, but I enjoyed it, and it was a fair amount of money. And I was like, well, I could go to Iowa, or I could make this ridiculous amount of money on Friday. So I stayed back, and I went anyway. Long story short, I went to Josh's and had Thanksgiving with his parents, and they were like, well, you're not going to be by yourself on Thanksgiving. You gotta come over with and have dinner with us. And I was like, sure, and it was fun. It was great.
I effectively did the same thing this year. Not that I made a ridiculous amount of money that day.
Oh, this year?
But I had to work both Thanksgiving and Black Friday.
Oh, that sucks.
So, which was okay. It wasn't so bad. But I was invited to my lady friend's place, or not her place, but her aunt and uncle's place for Thanksgiving. So that was nice. I mean, I suppose there's a difference between a person saying, I want my friend to not have to be alone on Thanksgiving, and getting invited to your significant other's place.
Yeah, that's true. That is a little bit different. Here's another question, Vince. Why are we supposed to be nicer at Christmas than any other time of the year?
That is a good question. Because Santa's watching you, and he's a bodybuilder, and he will crush you.
He's got his list, and he's checking it twice, and he's going to find out if you're a jerk or not.
Whether you've been naughty And then all the nice children get to the chopper. We have to get out of here.
No, it's always funny when you see somebody like in a movie or even in real life who's like, cut me a break, it's Christmas time,
it's funny to me. I see things in movies where they say it's the most wonderful time of the year. People are nice to other people.
I think you're always going to see, even if you're in a big recession like we are, I think you're always going to see significantly fewer people being laid off at Christmas time.
Oh.
I would expect. I mean, it seems like people, especially really sensitive people, like don't want to do anything mean to a person at Christmas time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think some people do get filled with a little bit of the Christmas spirit, as it's called.
Yeah, I imagine you've got employers who are like, well, I gotta lay somebody off, but can I afford to pay him for another couple of weeks? Can I at least wait till the new year? Mm-hmm. you know what I mean?
Happy January 1st. Here's your slip. I'm fired. Well.
But on the bright side, your New Year's resolution can be to find a better job.
I think that this time of the year,
suddenly that boss doesn't seem nearly as sensitive, does he, Ben? This hypothetical man I've just invented.
This is right. Anyway, that's all Boo, the man who doesn't exist.
I'm very angry with that guy right now.
I think that it gets to be Christmas time and people are a little bit meaner in some ways. Like if you're face to face with them, maybe not. But, there's a lot more crazy drivers on the road.
That's true.
There's people, I just got cut off 3 times today. I saw people do stupid crap on the road.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just because, maybe we just have this ideal that we're nicer at Christmas time, but we actually really aren't.
Yeah.
And also, it's a stressful time for people. Right, where it's supposed to be like this. I mean, people have this idea sometimes that it's supposed to be this the best time of the year and that sort of thing. But at the same time, if you observe Christmas, you got all these people to buy for. You might have big parties you're planning for. You might have to figure out travel plans. Mm-hmm. You might have to figure out vacation time if you have that issue. And so you might have to buy a Christmas tree and deal with how to haul stuff and all those sorts of things. And then if you have kids, there's a great deal more stress.
Yeah. Not that I have kids, I'm just saying.
Right.
I can imagine, especially if you have multiple kids. Then
see, I'm off the hook this year because my kid is still a baby, and we bought his presents while he was with us. It'll be the only year we'll get to do that, but he was with us. He watched us wrap them. He still doesn't know he has presents.
The cutest thing.
He's just 8 months old right now, but we gotta have some great stuff though. I was really excited about it. I think that this is gonna be the most fun for Christmas I've had in a long time. Just because having a kid totally changes Christmas. It's a totally different deal. Because now Christmas isn't about just me and my wife. Now it's about this other person,
mm-hmm.
Who once you have kids, Christmas is all about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
You stop thinking, or at least I have even already. You stop thinking about what you want for Christmas, and you start thinking about what you're going to buy your kid, what you want to get him for Christmas, and it becomes less about you having a good experience and more about him having a good experience. It's fantastic. It's totally great feeling. Different sort of feeling.
We were walking, meaning Cap here, Sarah, and Jason and I, we were walking through a Barnes & Noble the other day.
Oh, right.
And Cap found a book of some sort of Where's Waldo-esque Marvel book. Find the thing in this picture. Can you find Iron Man? Well, look, there he is. And it was the cutest thing because they're opening up the book and moving the pages so that Jason could look at this book. And he's kicking his feet and smiling and freaking out over this book. I'm like, this is not even a year old. He can't do any of the searching. He's just looking at the pictures and getting a big kick out of it. It was the cutest thing I'd seen in a while. So
we've been playing with it with him now. It's fun. It'll be more fun when he can find things and point.
Now that I've wasted your guys' time setting a scene that you can't imagine and don't know.
Oh, no, not at all. Okay, Vince, here's another question.
Okay.
At what point will there be too many Christmas Carol movies?
When Jim Carrey makes A Christmas Carol 4. I think...
Do you have any idea how many of these things there are?
I'm guessing a lot.
It's got to be one of the most remade movies ever. I mean, especially when you count in the the cartoon versions from various series and movies that have you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Tons of different properties have done Christmas carols, And actually, one of the better ones is the Muppet Christmas Carol. Like, it's actually quite.
I think I've seen
quite
the Muppet
funny.
Christmas Carol.
You should. It's really great.
My favorite one that I'm aware of.
You know who Scrooge is in that?
No.
It's
Gonzo?
No. Why can't I think of his name? You know Alfred in Dark Knight and Batman Begins.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine is Alfred. Is Scrooge. And it's just brilliant, yeah. So he's Scrooge, and then Cratchit is Kermit the Frog, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah. My favorite is the Disney one. I love Scrooge as Scrooge I love Scrooge McDuck as Scrooge.
That one's really good too, yeah. Yeah, and there's a Mickey Mouse one, and I mean there's tons of different ones.
We should do Christmas recommends.
We should. Do you remember the Ghostbusters episode that they did that?
Yes.
Yeah, that was amusing and odd. But yeah, there's tons of them. And I mean, my favorite one. I mean, I mentioned the Muppet one. It's fun, but I think my favorite one still is the Patrick Stewart one. I'm partly just because I'm a huge Patrick Stewart fan. It is a little bit weird seeing him as Scrooge, but he's so good at it. It's really good.
Well, he uses his mental powers to make people give him money.
Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, yeah, you've got to see that. I'll show you that.
I take that. I've seen some of them, and then I start watching these again, and I say, "Oh yeah," because they all have the same story.
Did you see the Jim Carrey one? Because I missed it.
I didn't want to. I have a poster of it, which anybody can have.
Yeah, I didn't care to see it either, and maybe this is just one of those weird points where like Roger Ebert thinks something's great that everyone else hates, but he gave it 4 stars, and I was like, really? Like, yeah, it was weird. But no, I missed it, partly because it was one of those computer animated things. And,
Jim Carrey, you just put a little makeup on the guy, and he could be the character.
Exactly, that was my problem with it. I was like, and that's nothing against computer animation. I don't know how that sounded. I just mean like something like that. I didn't understand why it couldn't be live action.
I mean, it's like the live action Scrooge. Or not Scrooge, live action Grinch.
It's just like that thing.
Why not? It's just like what it is.
Yeah, although that was awful.
Well, by the same principle, they had to make a magnificent.
It wasn't awful because it was live action. I mean, they did some neat things visually with that movie, but it was just a terrible script.
I saw that movie when I was stupid, so I have no idea. I have a period of my life that I call my stupid period, that I didn't really critique anything. So,
all right, here's another question. Here's a big classic Christmas question, Vince. Why do we lie to children about Santa Claus?
I was wondering that the other day.
Yeah, why do we do this? Because here's the deal, okay? So, so especially these days, this seems like the sort of thing that might have worked 50 years ago when merchandising was a little bit less blown up. But, what are you... I guess you just have to be, really, really strategic about what presents you say come from Santa Claus. Because do we really expect kids to buy that, the Wii they got for Christmas was made in Santa's workshop?
Yes. Santa has the greatest arsenal of everything. You want, I say, a bazooka for Christmas? Here we go. Bazooka, here it comes. Plutonium, you got it.
I mean, I guess he has licensing contracts with every company in the world, because...
Otherwise, there's a lot of bootleg games going on right now.
Yeah. It turns out Santa Claus is actually just, the greatest bootlegger there ever was. He invented LimeWire and Kazaa and torrenting.
Oh, man. I don't know. I had to assume that the reason why we lie to kids about Santa is because there's some sort of childlike wonderment about it. That's the only time that you're ever going to really believe in magic, unless you're kind of a hippie.
True.
So I think we lie to kids as a way of just postponing adulthood.
Yeah. That makes sense. I'm not even saying there's necessarily anything wrong with it.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm just saying it's... Oh, yeah, I am. I'm going to say there's something wrong with lying to kids.
Well, okay, sure, but I think that most parents would tell you that they're not lying to their kids so much as not wanting to dash their hopes and dreams. So, if they already believe in Santa Claus, the parent isn't going to be like, no, you must understand everything when you're 4. There is not a Santa Claus. But then again, you could make the argument that parents are the people, or precisely the people who perpetuate the lie of Santa Claus. So,
well, yeah. I suppose Santa could be like a brand name or something, symbol.
I'll actually come out and say this. My wife and I had a bit of an argument about this. It wasn't anything major, but we were like, but I asked her just out of curiosity. I was like, so when Jason gets a little bit older, are we going to tell him about Santa Claus? Like, is he going to be one of those kids that believes in Santa Claus? Like, she was surprised I even asked her that. She was like, well, yeah, of course he is. Like kids are going to believe in Santa Claus. And I was like, but just, like, why? Why is it just because, most people do it, we have to also? And she was like, well, think about it. If he's going to have friends that believe in Santa Claus. Like, so even if we don't tell him, even if we tell him there is no Santa Claus and he ends up believing it and he doesn't, dash all of his hopes and dreams because he grew up that way, he's going to tell some other kid that there is no Santa Claus and he's going to make him go home and cry. And she had a point.
Yes, that's true.
So I thought that was kind of amusing, and I was like, yeah, okay, maybe there is just no way around it. I think sometimes culture just trumps common sense.
Maybe... This sounds horrible, but maybe there's some sort of... this is like an inauguration for kids to have faith in something. Make them believe in something that's hard to believe in. Because they're getting presents, and they're being told that it's coming from this mythical guy.
But it's not hard to believe in when you're a kid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that, maybe it makes that religion that people develop, whatever it be, and in this case it'd be Christianity. But,
right.
It makes it easier to believe in a bearded man in the sky. That sounds really negative, and I apologize.
Well, I don't know, but the thing is, on the other end of the spectrum, if you're not religious, it seems like the argument would be, well, why not?
Why not tell them there's a Santa?
Yeah.
I think there is something to be said about just having fun.
Because then the idea is that part of growing up is learning that certain things that you thought maybe existed don't, and you develop your common sense. The experience of believing in Santa Claus could be part of your development.
Yeah.
Having to deal with those kinds of realizations. And it's the kind of thing that you just have to deal with yourself.
Maybe part of being an adult is a certain amount of distrust for the organized establishment over you, so that you have some kind of self-reliance. So it's not just oh, my parents will fix everything for me. Well, this is your first step. Santa Claus doesn't exist and your parents have been lying to you all these years.
Deal with it.
How does that feel? I'm not sure I'm going to trust my parents about anything. Does the Easter Bunny exist? Well,
I hope we don't have any listeners young enough that this is going to be bad.
What do you mean Santa doesn't exist?
Just this 7-year-old who just loves Captain Vince, but he just unsubscribed.
I can imagine a 7-year-old.
There is a Santa Claus. What are you talking about? And then it turns out he thought Vince was Santa Claus, so it's even worse.
No! I just imagine a 7-year-old sitting in front of a computer just crying.
And we're laughing at that.
That's entertaining to me.
No,
I'm sorry, 7-year-old. Don't cry.
I so hope this didn't happen. That would be awful. Along the same lines, or at least still on the topic of Santa Claus, why is Santa Claus made canonical in so many TV shows?
I think
that is something that has always gotten under my skin, where you'll think that there is a certain kind of universe, and then they bring up a Christmas episode, and inevitably Santa is real.
That's weird. I'd never thought of that.
That did this? I mean, they did it in the 90s a lot. I mean, with a lot of cartoon shows, but even some live action shows would do it.
Those cartoon shows, a lot of them were just so unserious, so flippant that I thought, whatever, they're going to put Santa in a show, who cares? But it occurs to me that there are things that Santa appears in that
and you're like,
it befuddles you. You're like, why? I'd like to know, fat man, why?
It just sort of changes your whole perspective of the show at that point. And I know this is an extremely silly show, but it was even weird when Power Rangers did it. First or second season Power Rangers had a Christmas episode, and there was a real Santa Claus, and I think a couple of Rita's minions were trying to steal stuff from Santa Claus or something bogus. I don't remember because I was a kid, but But anyway, it was just weird. I was like, why is Santa... Even then I was thinking, okay, this is the point at which Power Rangers has jumped the shark. There is Santa Claus in Power Rangers.
You think that this is such a horrible joke, and I'm not sure I want to make it, but the series where they had all the Animal Zords, you think they ever actually jumped a shark in that?
They even went almost as far as to have a real Santa Claus in Smallville, which really bugged me. Yeah,
see, Smallville is so bad that I wouldn't care, but it just seems like a dumb idea given what they're trying to do with the show.
The thing about it was,
not that they're succeeding.
It was an episode that, in a lot of ways, I really liked. Their Christmas episode. It was season 5, and it was called Lexmas, and it was this whole like Lex Luthor having kind of the Scrooge experience, kind of. Only they were somewhat subtle about it, because like he got shot, and I won't go through all of it. But I mean, he got shot, and then he was like having this. He was experiencing this like other world where his life turns out a lot better than obviously it's going to, and he gets cut off from his money, but he gets married to Lana, and they have like this perfect life. Except like they're middle class, and it was kind of cool because it wasn't perfect, you know what I mean? But he realized that it was the kind of life that he would have that he would have wanted to have, and then they turn it on its head because what you would have expected them to do is Lex has this perfect life, and then he wakes up, and then for some reason he ends up not going down that road. But it's actually the dream itself that makes him stay on his path to evil. Because in the dream, what ends up happening is like he's got this perfect life, and he's got a son, and Lana's pregnant, and then she dies in childbirth. And the reason she dies in childbirth is because if Lionel had agreed to bring in like the best doctors to save her, she would have survived. But because Lionel had disowned Lex, and Lex goes to Lionel and asks him, to help out, and he won't. She ends up dying. And so then the lesson he learns is, if I don't have power and money, I can't have the life I want. And that becomes a huge turning point in the character. And so part of the reason I actually liked their Christmas episode was because it wasn't just this pointless Christmas episode. It was actually like this huge turning point for a character, which was cool.
That's neat.
But I liked that about it.
Well, that's because Lex is the only good thing about that show.
Yeah. The subplot was this drunken guy in a Santa Claus outfit that wanted to commit suicide, and Clark had to talk him off a roof. And then at the end there was this they put out this idea that maybe he was the real Santa Claus, and that was dumb.
That is dumb. Santa was like, I'm drunk and I want to kill myself because I've been alive way too long.
He might not have really been Santa Claus. He might have just had like superpowers, but
he's got super Santa powers.
So many people in that show
super
have
Claus
superpowers. But anyway, I don't know.
I would think that it would be easier for a depressed Santa to convince Clark Kent to kill himself than it would be for
Really? That's funny.
He whines all the time, so it makes sense to me.
Okay, here's another question, Vince. Is The Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
Yes.
I can never be sure.
See, I always think of it as a Christmas movie.
Have you ever noticed that it seems to be sold more at Christmas than it is at Halloween?
Well, it's because people will be more likely to buy DVDs at Christmas.
Well, no, I don't mean the movie. I mean merchandise. Do you have any idea how huge Nightmare merchandise is?
There is some...
There's more now than there ever has been. It's huge. It's crazy. And I always see a little bit more at Christmas than I do at Halloween.
It feels a little more Christmassy to me. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it's just the Tim Burton shapes. Maybe it just calls back to Batman, which happened partially at Christmas time.
Maybe it's just because of the simple fact that Christmas is in the title.
Yeah.
And because the whole plot is about the Halloween skeleton going off and becoming Santa Claus, but...
So, I always think of it underneath the context of Christmas, because I never think... Man, I sure want Christmas at my Halloween. I think I don't mind a little Halloween at my Christmas. But,
it sounds like you're making a mixed drink.
I do like a little cream in my coffee, but it's got to be non-fat and Splenda only. I'm not going to have that sugar in there. Maybe a banana.
Do you like Nightmare Before Christmas?
I do.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. It's one of those things that sometimes people seem to be somewhat polarized on. Like most people seem to, or at least most people who were kids when it was out seem to really like it, or at least a lot of the people that I know. And then there's the people who just hate it.
You and Sarah had some joke about Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, we did?
Involving the music, because Danny Elfman provided the music.
Yeah, well,
it was like making.
I know what it is. Yeah. Okay, so if you watch Nightmare Before Christmas, he's got that lick in that song where it's like making Christmas, la la la. Okay, if you go back to his earlier films, that lick is in the orchestral score somewhere in like all of his movies. It's in Batman Returns all over the place. It's really funny.
So what was the joke you guys had about that?
I think we were just making fun of the fact that Danny Elfman kept using that everywhere, or at least that's all I can remember.
There was something like making Batman. La, la, la.
I don't remember. That's not funny, man. But I don't remember what the joke was. But anyway, yeah. Sarah has never understood the appeal of Nightmare Before Christmas. She doesn't like it. But I think part of it is just some people just don't like Tim Burton. And so, anything Tim Burton does has that style that they don't care for, and it's a taste issue. You know me, I'm not a big Tim Burton fan, but Nightmare Before Christmas is one of those things I really like. And he is, of course, always deeply associated with it, but he didn't direct that movie.
Oh, really?
He produced it, but I'm pretty certain he's not the director. I'll look it up just to be sure, just to make sure that I'm covering my bases, but I'm 98% positive that he actually didn't direct that movie.
You know, Tim Burton for me is a lot like Frank Miller for me. There are things, and Johnny Depp.
Right, where you hate anything they're in and you're incapable of being objective. Right, go on.
Thank you, Cap. But what it really is for me is I have like favorites where I'll pick what they do because everything they do is so similar to each other. Well, Johnny Depp has a great range.
You're like, so I liked it the first time and then I don't like it anymore.
Yeah, like I've seen a Frank Miller thing once. I've seen the rest of it. I don't need to see any more from the guy. I've seen a Tim Burton thing once. I've seen the rest of it. I don't need to see any more. And they do have varying levels of what's good and bad within their various movies and such. But so when I think about Tim Burton, I'm really going to go for Batman. I'm going to go for Nightmare Before Christmas, and I really don't care about everything else that he did because it's largely the same film. And it's more about as time goes by for Burton, it's more about the style than it is about the story. And in fact, I think it may have always been about the style before the story, considering some of the glaring problems with Batman, but still. Okay,
the reason Tim Burton is credited, is always associated with Nightmare Before Christmas is because apparently he came up with the story for it. He didn't write the screenplay, but it was adapted by a writer named Michael McDowell. And then Tim Burton did the story, but it was directed by Henry Selick. So anyway, people always say that he directed it, but he actually didn't direct it.
McDowell?
That's a different McDowell.
Aww.
Anyway.
And here, I thought it was going to be about Caligula.
So we were talking about Black Friday earlier. Whoever named that, they couldn't think of anything more ominous than less ominous than Black Friday.
Well, I thought it had something to do with the stock markets, and the markets were in the black. So.
I think maybe it does, but I don't know. It's just weird because it's like that's always the day that really signifies the beginning of Christmas time, which is like this really happy, great time of the year, and it starts with Black Friday. I don't know.
This is Black Sunshine.
When I was a kid, I always thought that was weird. Like the first time I ever heard of Black Friday, I was like, is that the day where we're supposed to stay in our house and duck and cover and like?
This is a day that nuclear threats are likely to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought that when I was little. I was like, I'm frightened. It's Black Friday.
Oh, Black Friday, as opposed to Green Friday or Chartreuse Friday. They have this thing now called Cyber Monday. Have you heard of this?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They've been calling it that for a few years now. Yep.
I just heard about this recently.
Oh, really? What's weird about Cyber Monday is that a lot of the websites that participate in Cyber Monday still have Black Friday sales.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Amazon does both Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Like, well, what's the point if you're going to have a special one for the Internet? Like, it's kind of cool that they have a special one for the Internet, I guess, but...
Yeah. I don't know. I question it because I can still find
things... It's not like you have to get out of your house and go there. Like, what's the point, really?
Yeah. Yeah,
this is the day where there's unusually high bandwidth and everyone has to be afraid of their computers crashing.
It's amusing to me that I've found better deals on Amazon outside of Black Friday.
Sometimes they have some killer ones, though.
I didn't find anything this year that I was particularly interested in.
I did last year, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, see, my mom wanted to buy my stepdad the all 5 seasons at that point, the 5 seasons of House, because he's a big fan of that show. And she asked me to look around online and see if I could find a good deal. So I did. And I told her, I sent her an email, told her what Amazon had it for. And then 3 days later, they put up their Black Friday sales. And they always tell you what they are like a few days before Black Friday. Mm-hmm. And their Black Friday sales for House ended up being like a third off the cost or something. Mm-hmm. Almost near half, maybe. And so, yeah, it was huge. It was awesome. And then the prices went right back to where they were after Black Friday. So it ended up being really good that we bought it when we did.
You know, just these last few days, Amazon had like 56% off some of their DVDs.
Right.
And I'm looking at that going, who wants to buy these anyway?
Yeah, or are they kind of bad ones?
Well, some of them were good, like Up, but, you know, I already have that, so it doesn't matter.
Let's see. What else do we have here? Hey, Vince.
Yeah, Cap.
Could you consider Santa Claus to be a superhero?
Well,
just think about it for a minute before you entirely dismiss this crazy notion.
I'm gonna say no because he always needs like Kiss or Scooby Doo to save Christmas.
He's always Kiss.
Yeah, Kiss saves Christmas.
Wait, when did Kiss save Christmas?
In Family Guy.
Oh, okay, and why does Christmas always need to be saved? Like, that's the thing. Okay, so, like, I almost think you could almost consider Santa Claus a superhero just because Christmas always needs saving. Like it just seems like Christmas is a damsel in distress or something. Somebody's always got to save Christmas.
You know, it seems like to me that Santa is the damsel in distress. Like, something's going wrong, and he's like, oh, somebody help us. Ho, ho, ho.
But, see, here's the thing, okay? If you get rid of Santa, then Christmas needs saving. But if Santa doesn't have any problems, and he's just doing his thing, he's, like, saving Christmas already. So, like, maybe he's a superhero in that way. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's sort of like when a superhero gets kidnapped and somebody else has to go save him, right? Like,
maybe he's saving people from a January of boredom. Like, here's a toy.
Well, he's, like, I don't know. I mean, different superheroes have different goals, right? And, like, if for some reason it's important, you find it really important for little kids to get toys. I mean, the idea of Santa Claus is that, he brings kids presents, and especially the kids whose parents can't get them presents. And so, like, in that sense, I mean, if you think about it, we place a very high value in this country on children having a good Christmas. Mm-hmm. Like, we've got charities devoted to this, like huge charities where like all they do is get presents for children for Christmas. Kids who don't live in good homes or are homeless and things like that. And so I don't know. It seems like Santa Claus could almost be considered a superhero in that sense. I think if you asked a little kid if Santa Claus was a superhero, I think most of them would say that he is.
Well, that makes sense. I don't know.
They wouldn't have ever thought of it that way, but they might be like, no, it seems like he is a superhero. Like,
well, if
he's got superpowers. Here's the deal, okay? He has a costume, and he has superpowers, and he has a super vehicle, and he has this like big, he has this big goal, and he goes on patrol one night a year.
That's funny.
I don't think he's really a superhero. I'm just saying that I think you could almost make the argument.
I suppose if there can be a battle pope, then there can be like a slaying Santa or something.
I think you could. Yeah, but see, that would be. See, when you say that, it sounds like he's fighting vampires. Like, but you'd spell slay differently. Like, yeah. He'd be a slaying Santa, and he'd be Santa Claus the Vampire Slayer. That's hilarious. I don't know. I think that you could. I think anything could be done. I think you could write a good Santa Claus comic book. Like, I think it could be hilarious.
I think it exists.
Really?
I think there is a Santa comic book out there.
Huh.
I don't think it's a monthly.
It's probably not monthly. That's probably seasonal. Okay, this is something that I've never entirely understood. when exactly, Vince, are you supposed to buy your Christmas tree, and how long are you supposed to keep it up?
I think this ties into the idea of Christmas taking over Thanksgiving. And
what is it traditionally? When does the tree go up, and when does it get taken down? Like, it seems like my mom, and Mom, if you're listening, tell me if I'm wrong. It seems like my mom always put the tree up a little bit earlier and kept it up a little bit later than most people do. And maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed like we often would put our Christmas tree up just a few days after Thanksgiving. And my wife always thought that was too early. Like, she's like, no, it goes up like a couple weeks before Christmas. And I'm like, well then, but maybe a little bit before that. But then I'm like, okay, well then how long do you keep it up? Like, do I want to? Because we like to have a live tree. And last year we got a live tree, which was awesome, except for all the needles everywhere. And I was like, okay, well, if you're gonna get a live tree, and you're gonna, especially if you don't have a pickup truck or something, and you're gonna deal with all the hassle of getting it home and getting it set up and everything, like it was kind of a battle to get that thing home on the top of my car and all of that, you know. In fact, I think ultimately we had to put it in the back seat and stick it out a window because we couldn't get it tied to the top quite right.
God, that must have sucked for cleanup.
It was obnoxious. The vacuuming that out took a while, and so like if I have to deal with all that, I mean, it was worth it because it looked great. It was really fun to have that tree in the house. But if I got to go through all that, do I really only want it up for 2 weeks? You know, and then have to deal with taking it down. Like,
see, for me, it should go up in December. Like December 1st, put your tree up. December 31st, you should probably keep it up until, I don't know, a little bit after.
Well, see, you want to keep it up till after New Year's so that you still got your cool decorations if you have a party.
Yeah. And also, you know, who wants to have to take down a tree between Christmas and New Year's? You're going to want to chill. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. Because once again, like we said, Christmas can be kind of stressful, so you need that time to, you know, simmer down a little bit.
Christmas gets there, and you can relax and watch your kids playing with their hoo-da-ha, because you know that big hoo-da-ha coming out for Christmas. Funny thing, apparently the hot toy this year is called a singamajig.
Really? What does it do?
It is the creepiest thing I have seen in a while.
All right, what is it?
It looks like this little strange rodent, and it has this. Imagine a scrunchie that is lips. Okay, I'm having a hard time imagining this. Either that, or imagine a big fuzzy caterpillar in a circle, and it closes tight, and you can open up its mouth by pushing its belly, and it sings. You push its hand, and it'll change different tunes. So. It'll change the pitch in 3 ways. Because I played with this thing for like 20 minutes. I was befuddled by this. I'm like, this is the scariest, creepiest thing.
What age group is it for? It sounds almost like a toddler kind of thing.
I think it's, I don't know, but you could really have a little kid play with this thing. I think it's aimed a little bit for older children. Or not like 13, but...
like 8?
I'm thinking more like 6.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's aimed at. But you could have a baby play with this
thing.
So it's not
going
to kill him.
Than a toddler, yeah.
This thing...
But it doesn't have like any small parts or anything?
No. Nothing that comes off of it. You push this thing's belly and its mouth opens up. And that's why that's a scrunchy type of thing, because it stretches. And there's teeth and a tongue inside of this thing. And it's just big enough for me to stick my pinky in. That's how big the mouth is. But it is so frightening to me. The voice is cute. It'll say things like, "See you later." So in a way it is cute, but it's just so... I feel like if I were to sleep with it in the room, it would steal my soul at night. I just feel like somebody that thing would just start talking and the mouth would open up.
Now, Vince, obviously I wouldn't do this because I did have a lot of fun getting my kid, you know, presents for Christmas. But I did, especially before I had, you know, a baby around. I always wondered why we didn't just get babies wrapping paper for Christmas. Because notoriously, this is almost a cliche now, right? That babies like the wrapping paper more than they like the presents. So I always wonder why we don't just give them wrapping paper. Like, okay, the other day, my wife was wrapping presents. And when she finished wrapping some presents, she had a couple of pieces of wrapping paper that, like some smaller pieces that came off of the larger pieces she was working with, but she kept them in case she needed them later, save paper and stuff. And she left them out on the floor, and Jason, of course, got a hold of one and started playing with it, ripping it apart and stuff. And I was just like, wow, like, I just know he's not going to play with any of the toys I bought him nearly as long as he's playing with this piece of wrapping paper. And so, I kind of wonder why we don't just get, although that could be a bit of a hazard, too, like, for babies to play with wrapping paper for a long time. Like, eventually I just pulled it away from him because I was afraid he would shred it and swallow it and stuff. So.
Well, it is paper, so it will digest.
Well, yeah, but not easily, and...
Yeah, I suppose it is a baby.
If he got too big of a chunk in his throat, he could choke on it.
That's true. Get him paper that won't tear.
Remind me not to let you babysit, Vince.
By the way, I do have my knife collection that I keep bolted to the floor, pointing up. Just knives, just long enough to grab onto like handles and try to pull yourself.
One year at Christmas time, I think this was back when I was either in junior high or beginning of high school. We went to Arkansas to see my dad for Christmas, and I had an aunt who kept commenting on all the gift bags. Like, every time somebody opened a gift that had a bag, she just went on and on about how amazing the Christmas bags were. So the next year, we wrapped up like 50 Christmas bags and gave it to her for Christmas.
Did she appreciate that?
And she thought it was hilarious.
Awesome.
We got her other things too, but that was pretty... Because the thing is, I think what we did was we kept all the bags from the year before, and those were the bags she got. It was pretty awesome. Anyway, hey, since there's so many Christmas movies, how come there aren't more Christmas video games?
Because I don't have a good answer for that. I was going to try to think of something, a little bit bold, but who wants to play like Santa or something? What kind of a Christmas game? I mean, maybe there's just no fantasy world that you can immerse yourself in.
I don't know. It seems as though it would be a good marketing ploy for like Nintendo or Sega to make like a Mario or a Sonic Christmas game, like one time.
Yeah.
Where it's just like regular, side-scrolling, but it's got like Christmas levels in it. Or maybe even like a holiday game, where like you have a Halloween level. Where just the backgrounds, you got a Halloween level, you got a Christmas level.
Or maybe a mod. You can download...
I'd play it. I don't know.
You can download New Super Mario... you can play New Super Mario Brothers, but you download some sort of skin where you're playing it in this frosty Christmas world and you're Santa.
Yeah, or maybe there's even like an expansion pack where you download like holiday levels.
Yeah.
For the game. I think some people would buy that. It's a festive sort of thing. It'd be a good stocking stuffer.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Here, stuff your stocking with this download. Well, my stocking's amazingly thin now.
But you could buy a card.
That's true.
To get points and then say what it's for.
And stick the card in sideways and it puffs it out a bit.
Yeah. Back in the day there was the Night sequel was supposed to be a Christmas game. It was supposed to be called Christmas Nights, and there was a demo that they had on one of the Sega Saturn demo discs back in the day that was Christmas Nights. I played. There was like one level you could play, and then they ended up abandoning the project and they never finished it. And then of course we all know how the actual final Night sequel turned out. It wasn't very good, but anyway, like I always thought it was weird that when that was attempted, that nobody else ever tried it. It's not to say that there aren't any Christmas video games ever. I think the Wii put like a silly Christmas party game out. I'm sure that sold well. How did Christmas comedy movie turn into a cliche movie formula? Like, it's almost up there with romantic comedy at this point. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Like, there are lots of these that seem to follow the same formula, or not necessarily the same formula all the time, but just like the hokey Christmas comedy is this subgenre that happens that like it seems like almost every year. I think this is one of the only years I haven't seen commercials for one. It's like you have like Christmas with the Cranks, and then years ago you had Home Alone, and like these things they're Christmas movies. And it's weird.
I think it's largely because there's a lot of Ernest fans out there.
I don't know. I think this was happening before that. What about Christmas Story? That was one of the first ones. Really, like I think if you really thought about it or did some research, you'd find that there is a long laundry list of hokey Christmas comedies.
See, I was just kidding, but
then there's Jingle All the Way and
where they look for a toy and then have to get to the chopper.
That is a terrible movie, by the way.
When I was a kid, I liked it.
Vince, final question before we go to rants. What do you want for Christmas?
What do I? Ooh.
What do you want for Christmas, Vince?
I'm surprised you asked that.
Yeah.
That's a difficult question.
Is it?
Because, see, my Christmas list consists of the cheapest things I can think of so that I'll be likely to get one of them.
Oh, yeah. See, I always have that problem where a lot of times when people ask me what I want for Christmas, I won't tell them because I know they won't buy the thing that I want for me. So it's like, what's the point of even mentioning it?
Mm-hmm.
Because especially sometimes with family, like it seems like it's almost disrespectful to say something that like is more expensive than what they want to spend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my mom will be like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I'll tell her, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't really want to spend that much on you this year." Like,
yeah, I understand that. See, I could actually.
So I tell my wife about those.
So I suppose if I had to pick one, the immediate thing that jumps to my mind. Ooh, there's a good one too. Well, the first thing that jumped to my mind was the Ultimate Edition of Dawn of the Dead. Because I have all the other special editions of Romero's movies. Oh, wait, Survival of the Dead's out. I don't have that one. I must go purchase things. But I also just thought the collection of the Ghostbusters movies, or the Ghostbusters cartoon show.
Cartoon show, yeah.
The Your brother's got collection. That. Yeah, it's sitting in my living room right now. And
yeah, but you'd like to have it. I mean, eventually you're going to move out. And you're going to move away from your brother, who you live with right now, and you won't have access to the stuff he owns.
So I don't have one thing that would just make my Christmas better, but
oh sure, yeah.
There's I'd love to have the Ninja Turtles cartoon show, the new series that is.
Right.
So there's all sorts of different things.
Well, I wish though they'd released that better because it's all funky all over the place. There are a number of DVD box sets that have come out recently or things that I just didn't have that I would certainly like to have. They recently finally started putting out Dexter's Laboratory in full seasons, which I really like to have. I was talking to Eric the other day, and we were talking about that show, and I was like, I don't think they ever finally released all those. And then I jumped on Amazon and realized they just recently put out the first season. I'm like, I'd really like to have that. Pinky and the Brain is a series I don't have.
Pinky and the Brain.
Animaniacs, Tiny Toons. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff, but then there's that stuff that surprisingly I still don't have. The stuff I grew up with.
Surprisingly, Tiny Toons and some of those other shows really hold up. I mean, they're clever for people who aren't just kids. I mean,
they still hold up. Yeah. Eric and I were talking about that too, and he was like, Pinky and the Brain still is amazing. Like even now, it doesn't.
I mean, Pinky and the Brain have an episode about the Shadow.
Yep.
A 1940s. Wait, 1940s? Whatever. A radio show thing. It's great.
There's this giant Galactus figure out right now that I really like to have. It's this big, like, $50 Galactus figure. It's pretty cool.
$50 for a giant Galactus figure? That's a decent deal, actually.
It might have even been a little less than that. I don't remember, but it's neat because it comes with a Silver Surfer that seems more or less to scale. And then on the back of the box, they it's hard to explain how big it is because I don't really know what the dimensions are, but I mean it's massive. And then when you get to the back of the box, they have put together this scene with like the Marvel Universe against Galactus, but it's all figures to scale. It just looks awesome. I almost want it just for the box. Like it's a really neat, but the figure's great. It's really neat. But yeah,
you don't want the Superhero Squad Galactus?
No, I would like to have him. He's hilarious because he flies around the galaxy looking for tasty planets to eat. That's what it says on the back of the box. It's hilarious. Well, Vince, it's time to go to 2-minute rants, and I kind of feel like this whole thing has been just a bunch of rants about Christmas. But we're going to each give you another rant about Christmas. Did you come up with a Christmas rant?
Yeah.
Okay, for our 2-minute rants. Vince, go ahead. What's your Christmas rant?
I'm wondering why the Chipmunks seem to be the soundtrack to Christmas.
Oh, that's good.
I don't get it. I don't understand why people think these annoying chipmunk voices are listenable for, let's say, 24/7. That's annoying. Anyway, here's another thing I'm going to tack on to that statement because I don't have anywhere to go with the chipmunk statement. Mm-hmm. Why is it that all of our really good Christmas songs are all like Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and Bing Crosby? And why is it that they're so far back in the day and that every new version of one of these songs comes out and people are just trying to jazz it up rather than just be faithful to what the song should be?
Well, a lot of times they're not even trying to jazz it up. They're trying to make it sound more modern, which
that's what I'm getting at.
Makes it bad.
I suppose jazz is a genre of music, so they're like, oh,
it's like no, Vince, that's almost closer to what it was in the first place.
Yeah,
but no. The thing is, a lot of Christmas carols. A lot of your oldest Christmas carols were actually hymns and go well before Frank Sinatra did. There's a lot of Christmas carols, especially the religious ones that people still sing now, even if they're not religious, that you'll find in hymnals.
Yeah, I mean, well, O Little Town of Bethlehem.
Sure,
I mean, come on.
But I mean, I've heard jazz versions of that.
Yeah.
So
and I've heard even doo-wop and type of like. Ray Charles does a Walking in a Winter Wonderland, and
right.
And the Temptations do my favorite version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Mm-hmm. So what I don't understand is why people need to modernize it and turn it into modern pop music or modern rock music.
I think it's because the people doing it already have their own style, so they think the point of their doing it is to do it the way they do things.
Which is irritating to me, because it doesn't... You do not try to make country into metal. I mean, why would you try? So why are you trying to make something that's a very classic, simple tune into something that it's not?
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, and a lot of times it just doesn't work. It just doesn't sound good.
Like, create your own Christmas song. That's fine. I mean, Michael Bublé is the only guy who's... I hate his last name, by the way. He's the only guy who's doing any of this classic Christmas stuff that I'm aware of, anyway. So, yeah. That's my rant.
Well, my rant is a classic one, and is one of those that pops up a lot, but it always infuriates me, and that is, of course, the lack of Christmas lights that work. And Vince, I've bought new Christmas lights out of the box and had this problem. I don't know why people can't make it. It is 2010. We thought we'd have flying cars by now, but we can't make Christmas lights that work. You plug in a thing of Christmas lights and you turn one bulb, and then the whole line doesn't work. Or you turn another bulb and then half of it works and the other half doesn't work. And what's even more infuriating than that is flashing bulbs. Because if you got one that's out, you can't tell. And it's extremely irritating. Because you'll have a lot of times you'll have these Christmas lights that are alternating blinking. So it isn't that the whole thing blinks on and off. There you can kind of tell. Well, you have the alternating ones that kind of blink, and then you got some that are out, and some that aren't. It's like you have to kind of watch for a pattern and try to figure out which ones are out. That's irritating.
See, the upside is that nobody knows, so I'm not going to call you on it.
Have you ever put Christmas lights up on a house?
No.
I've done that. That is not fun. I don't know why people do that. They're nice to look at, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but the couple of times I've tried to put up Christmas lights, I've just hated it.
See, that's why you have 8 friends with 8 ladders and 8 staple guns take care of it all at once.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
I suppose that is if you want to ruin your house with staple guns. If you live in a log cabin, by all means, go for it.
Well, Vince, believe it or not, we have managed to talk about Christmas for an entire hour on our podcast. So we like to say a very Merry Christmas to everyone. It's not quite Christmas yet, and a very Merry whatever else if you don't observe Christmas and you observe some other holiday, or if you don't like holidays at all, a very Merry Bah Humbug to you.
Happy Kwanzaa.
And Vince, are you going back home for Christmas, or?
I'll probably have to work, so I don't know.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. And I'll be in St. Louis for Christmas. My wife's family always has an amazing Christmas party. Sarah's grandma just knows how to throw a party. Seriously. Anyway,
that sounds hilarious.
Well, no, it's not that kind of a party, but it's a good party anyway. Well, hey, thanks a lot for listening to Geeks Not Nerds, the podcast. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
And thanks a lot for listening. We'll see you next time.
Merry Christmas.